Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 33 of the Memorial Memo KSR's Kentucky Women's Basketball Podcast. Today's a special episode. Normally, lately I've been going solo. We have Katie on most of the time, but today's a little bit different. Today, I'm joined by Talia Goodman. And if you don't know, Talia, she is on 3 and Rivals national women's basketball reporter, covers recruiting like none other. She does an excellent job all around. Talia, how the heck you doing today?
I'm good. Other than I was telling you before we got on, I lost my voice at Run for the Roses. So struggling there to talk, but I'm excited to try my best to talk with you today.
She was too busy. She interviewed so many recruits, she lost her voice doing it. Love to see it. But yeah, that's what we're here to talk about, man. Run for Roses this past weekend in Louisville. The self-proclaimed largest girls basketball exposure event in the world just took place. It was a big recruiting weekend for Kentucky. I wanted to hit on this really quick before we got into the basketball part of it because it would almost feel wrong if we didn't. There's been mixed reports about what happened on Sunday, but basically, if you're unaware, the games were put on pause. Talia, what time would you say? 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon?
It was like 3.
Maybe a little bit. Okay, a little bit later than that, 3 o'clock, and
3 o'clock
you,
game.
and then people evacuate the building. Like I said, there's been mixed reports about what actually happened. Talia, I left, maybe an hour before all that went down. You were there as it was going on. Just what was that like for you, and what in the world was going on, from your eyes?
No, I mean, I don't want to speculate on what actually happened because, to be honest,
Sure.
it doesn't really matter what actually happened. It was just the emotions in that moment were
Yeah.
terrible for everyone involved. I was literally I was waiting to speak to a player, and alarms go off, and we don't know if it's fire alarms or what. So we're kind of just like, what do we do? End up going outside. They tell us we're good to come back in. So we come back inside and we're getting ready for games. I'm talking to coaches and just hear people, shouting active shooter, shots fired. So start sprinting out of there. It was the most terrifying moment of my life. And I'm glad to hear, and I hope that it was a false alarm. I mean, I don't know and don't want to mistrust anyone who's coming out and saying it wasn't. You know what I don't know what happened. I didn't see anything personally. I got the heck out of there as soon as I could. Luckily, my car was like a 2-minute run away, so got there and got out. But it was terrible, and I really feel for all of the kids who were there. There were young kids playing and now have to live with that feeling, and it was really awful. But I do hope it was a false alarm, and I'm really glad that everyone was safe and no one was hurt.
It's one of those things where it's like, and especially in the world we live in today, man, it's like you never know. And as soon as you hear something like that happening, you think of the worst. And like you said, thank God, hopefully it was a false alarm. Sounds like it was.
Yeah.
But there's no reason okay, so I'll walk in the venue with a backpack. There's no reason it shouldn't be checked.
No,
That should be
and
the bare
usually
minimum.
they are. I'm heading to Nike Nationals this weekend, and I've been there the last 2 years, and they have a very good security setup,
Yeah.
Great security setup. And so I'm glad that this will lead to hopefully better security setup there.
Yeah.
Because it is I saw some tweets about this. There's just no one checking. There are open doors, anyone can come in, and obviously you don't want to think the worst of people, but in this day and age, you have to the point where you have to ensure safety.
It's just really unfortunate because again, you don't know what actually happened. There's, like I said, mixed reports, but what did happen was the terror and the traumatic emotions that everyone felt. You just pray for everyone's mental well-being, but that's just really unfortunate.
Yeah.
Now getting more towards the basketball side of things, Lindsey Hicks and Josh Peterson were on site recruiting. Now I did not see Josh Peterson, but Fairfield assistant Blake Dudonis, he kind of posted a video on social media that seemed to confirm Josh was there. Lindsey, she was watching Olivia Vukosa, Whitley Rogers, Jordan Palmer, Sydney Savory. She was there for all of their games.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was interesting to see. I don't know who Josh was there watching.
I don't think he was. I think he was in Vegas.
You think he was in? Okay. I guess that would make sense.
Other EYBL site, and Blake got in the next morning, so I think he might have been in Vegas.
Okay, because I know, because Blake he was in Louisville for Sunday because I was talking to him about what happened on Sunday.
He got in. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe Josh was in Vegas. I know Chloe Johnson was out playing in Vegas, 2028 target. I'm not sure who all else Kentucky-wise was out in Vegas. But so that's interesting to see. So maybe Coach Peterson was out in Vegas, and that's probably why I didn't see him.
Yeah. I saw Lindsay throughout the weekend when I was there, but I think that was the only Kentucky coach I took note of.
I gotta say, for me, I feel like, of course, I was mainly watching Kentucky kids, so I guess I can't speak for everyone. But man, I thought Olivia Vukosa was like the most impressive kid I saw.
Yeah,
Like,
she's up there for me for sure. I watched most of her games. There were like 5 games of hers that I was sat for.
I feel like she is. I mean, I feel like the easiest comparison to make is Reagan Beers, and I feel like that's probably the comparison a lot of people like to make. But like, I mean, she's got that size. I feel like Reagan's a little bit more physical, but like Olivia's like just as good as a shooter. You
I
know,
think they're calling her the next Nikola Jokic online right now. I think that's
Nikola
what they're
Jokic,
calling her.
you
Yeah.
can see it, yeah. Especially being, a European kid, like, yeah, you can definitely like. She's super talented. Just blew me away.
Yeah.
With how she played, and then I thought Jordan Palmer, Philly Rise with
Mhm.
Vukosa and Jordan Palmer look really good. Jordan, she's pretty solid too. I thought, she's like she's really good at like not forcing things offensively, and I felt like her kind of frame like would allow her to be able to guard a lot of positions on defense. She's exciting to watch. Whitley Rogers, I thought was an excellent scorer,
Yeah.
and then maybe the purest shot in the 26 class from what I've seen, right? Of course,
Yeah,
like
I
I
mean,
said, I can't speak for everybody, but
yeah, no, I really enjoyed watching all of those players, and I saw each of them play at one point or another during the weekend and talked to most of them. And sounds like, other than Jordan, who's obviously 2027 recruit, they're all moving along in their process, pretty considerably right now.
yeah.
I've been saying to people though that I feel like everyone's moving a little bit slower this year, which is something I'm taking note of. It's there's a lot less committed kids at this point. There's a lot less kids, like there are kids that don't have finalists yet, and it feels different than last year in that regard a little bit to me.
It does feel, yeah, it does feel like that a little bit, but almost, I don't know. I felt that way, but then I try to think about like early signing periods, not till November.
Yeah,
Like there is that aspect too. Like you still have the whole summer and the fall when everyone's going to be visiting and all that.
true.
So
And
I
I
guess
guess
there's
for you
that
guys,
aspect
it's
of it.
moving fast, so you
Yeah.
guys are young
Oh,
too.
yes, like for
Yeah, here
Kentucky,
you go too.
recruiting has been moving very
Right.
quickly in the
Yeah.
26 class.
Yes.
Uh, I mean, how many schools even have 2 commits in the 26 class?
Not
Like
not many. I know
at least
Clemson
top
Clemson's
100,
got
2
one.
top 100, let alone top 10. You
Right.
know.
Right.
Uh,
Clemson's the only one I can think of off the top of my head, but you're right. There are not very many of them for sure.
Now, of course, we have our on 3 or actually rivals rankings now, and
Yes.
then there's like the ESPN and all that. Tell you, I feel like Sydney Savory is way underrated in that 27 class.
Yeah, I mean,
Ah,
watching her this weekend, I was like, "Oh my
yeah.
goodness, this was my first time seeing her live." And I'd obviously seen, clips and highlights here and
Mhm.
there and heard how quickly her recruitment was moving, but seeing her live was something different. And I watched 2 of her games, and it's felt like everyone was seated there to watch her too. Like there were crowds at every game of hers, and she's just a blast to watch.
I mean, I mean, she's been the best, most prolific scorer on the Nike circuit. If you just
Mhm.
go by points
Yeah,
per game, 25 points per game. But like, man, she can do it all.
yeah.
She like just super offensively gifted. I noticed Michigan and UCLA as well as UK were courtside for all of her games. I know Michigan's the home state team in her recruitment. UCLA, I'm sure they're going to push hard for her too. But I thought it was interesting. I talked to Sydney at Run for Roses, and she was like, Kenny basically told me they're going all in on me. Like, and it sounds like to me, Talia, like Sydney Savory, you have a lot of these talented kids in the 27 class. Seems like to me she's going to be their top priority in the 27 class. And I wouldn't be surprised by the end of it. She's ranked in the teens right now. I wouldn't be surprised if she's a top 5 prospect when it comes commitment time for her.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be interesting to see how like her trajectory improves in the next set of rankings. We have our rivals rankings coming out after the July live period, so it'll probably be beginning of August. We'll have those come out and see where she lands in that mix. But yeah, I think she really showed out, especially this weekend in front of everyone, and I'm sure her recruitment will only pick up further from here.
For sure. And then, you you came out with some news about Olivia Vukosa, and I wanted to talk about it. So you talked to her. She's got some visits lined up. She told me she wants to visit UK as well as all of her finalists, but that's not quite set in stone just yet. But Talia, just kind of break down like she's visiting Ohio State, North Carolina.
Mhm.
What's this fall looking like for Olivia Vukosa?
It's looking very busy. I mean, she's planning on taking all 7 visits right now, and I know sometimes players just say that, but genuinely, when I was watching her games, I was keeping track of who was there, and all 7 coaches were there, like at one point or another. Mostly the head coaches were there at one point. Don Staley was there. Vic Schaefer was there watching. Like truly, it seems like all 7 programs are still in the mix right now. And yes, she has those 3 dates set up, but also, you know how hard it is to set up dates. So I'm sure I've heard that she's planning to get to LSU in October, I believe, at some point around that time. And I do think, barring her getting on campus and loving school so much that she can't, bear to go on another visit, I do think her plan is to visit all 7 campuses.
And in case you all don't know, Talia reported she'll visit Ohio State on August 28th through the 30th, Texas September 5th through the 7th, and then North Carolina October 26th through the 28th. So there's like plenty of time in between, like especially that
Yeah.
Texas North Carolina visit to squeeze in some, and of course, like she said, LSU at some point in October too.
Yeah.
And then you have UConn, South Carolina, Kentucky, the rest of those finalists to watch out for.
Mhm.
But me and you were talking, especially, and it kind of goes back to what you were saying about recruiting season being slower this year. It feels like, man, like when you get to like this point in the kid's process, a lot of times you can kind of be like, all right, well, this school's the favorite, like she's
Yeah.
probably gonna end up going here. Like, you can't really say the same thing about, you can't really say the same thing about, okay, there's this surefire favorite. Maybe you can say maybe she's a slight UConn lean because I think she took unofficials there. But like and it's close to home. But like other than that, it's like I feel like Kentucky and really all these finalists are kind of right in the mix to land her.
Yeah, I mean, I do think most of them are in it for one reason or another. I don't think she's made her mind up yet at all. And yeah, like you said, like maybe a slight lean to, Ohio State, UConn, maybe one or the other. But um I do think every school is in it right now, and a lot of domino pieces will start to kind of fall around the time that she's taking her visits too. I'm sure other players who are in the mix for all these other schools will commit and make their lists, and that will play a role in it, in how much each program is prioritizing landing her versus other players. So I think once we get to the fall, we'll have a clearer idea of what every program's needs still are, and where she's looking to be.
It's interesting for Kentucky because you have Clara Strack who
Mhm.
has 2 years left at Kentucky. Well, whenever Vukosa would get on campus, it would be one more year.
Which is, yeah, great.
And you could like that's really good timing.
Yeah.
And you think about like some of these other programs, like they have bigs that'll be there for a while.
Yep.
Like now Sarah, like I think about UConn. Sarah Strong is a slightly different position, but like she'll be there, 3 more years. Like Sarah, I think about some of these other schools, and like Olivia could come to UK and you know get a year behind Clara Strack, but you
I
know
will say, I will say, all that goes out the door just a little bit with the portal. You just everything nothing
oh
you can't take
yeah,
anything for granted. You have no idea who's gonna be
that's
there.
true. That you know what that is true.
You know what I mean? Like, yes, you can plan for the future in that way, but you just never like at this point where we are with the portal now, like no one is off limits in my mind. I'm like, I'm not counting anything out.
You know what? That is very true. Yeah, because I mean, yeah, flip of a dime, someone could leave or commit, and yeah, you know what? That is fair. You really don't really know with the transfer portal nowadays.
Yeah.
But it's definitely. I feel like it's something to keep an eye on with her recruitment because, well, one, if she commits, that's the highest rated recruit in program history. You don't get that every day.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, that's got to be the best freshman class in school history. 3 top 10
Yeah.
kids. I mean, come on now.
Yeah.
That's like prime Tennessee days we're talking about, getting 3 top 10 commits. But super interesting. Hoping she gets around to a visit. But regardless, it'll be a fun recruitment to keep an eye on. Now, kind of like her and LSU, Mimi Theoro, she told KSR that she's eyeing a September visit to Kentucky. There wasn't like a finalized date yet. Now, this is, of course, a really interesting and intriguing one for UK fans specifically because her brother played at UK before he went to Arkansas and followed Cal. Now, Mimi's recruitment has been super, super fun to follow because, like, Talia, like a year ago, her best offer was like Columbia,
Right.
like a really solid like Ivy League school. But like now, like NC State, Mississippi State, North Carolina, like all these high profile programs are in on her. And she went from being unranked to like a top 30 kid, like top 40, 50 kid. And, it's just like, oh my goodness, like where did she come from? Just, uh, you know, super athletic, 6'4". I mean, has everything you could want physically. She told KSR she's hoping to visit in September. Talia, I don't know if you got eyes on Mimi this weekend,
Yes. Yeah.
but just what do you make of that? There's a lot of teams in her recruitment,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah. So I'm pulling it up right now. I had a conversation with her, and that Kentucky was one of the programs that she mentioned that she wanted to visit. And now I got to put this story out today to make it relevant. But I'll read off the other kind of programs that she had mentioned that she has visits set to. It was Clemson, Michigan, Kentucky, Georgia Tech. I think this is UNC. I'm transcribing. It might not be. This last one is not transcribing correctly right now, but she does have several visits set that she's planning to take. I think there's a couple others. I've heard Illinois might be in the mix there. Um, and so it sounds like she's planning on making a world tour and getting out to some
Yeah.
places. And I know she hadn't taken any yet, so that makes total sense. And so, but yes, Kentucky was absolutely one of the schools that she mentioned she'd like to go to.
And her recruitment is definitely one that seems like it's taken its sweet time because I mean she hasn't made like you see a lot like nowadays, like Olivia
Top
Vukosa, for
16 or
example.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, top 16. Yeah, like we haven't even seen that from her. So this recruitment's taken its sweet time, but I feel like Kentucky could be right in the mix, and hopefully they are because again, it'd be good to get another freshman, especially with like Tiani Key leaving this offseason. Like, I mean, she could be like a really smooth like transition. Obviously, would probably need some time to develop, but like she could fill those shoes a little bit.
Yeah.
But a lot of schools in the mix. Kentucky feels like it's right there again. Uh, it's Talia. I have to admit, going from Kyra Elsie to Kenny Brooks, it's really fun to talk about how Kentucky's in contention for this top kid. It's
Yeah.
actually fun.
Yeah, no, it's been a big shift in the recruiting world for sure, and it does feel like, there aren't at this point like Kentucky's already landed 2026 kids, and they're still in the mix for some of the top ones. So it's interesting, and there aren't a ton. I'd say there's probably um like 8 that they're
Yeah.
really in the mix for. Probably 7 if you really think about it. But all 7 of them are like easily top 100 kids. I think mostly top 50 kids. So
Yeah.
yeah, very
It's
impressive.
if you go by the ESPN rankings, every kid that Kentucky's offered that can be ranked, so like isn't in 2029 or later or isn't
Yeah,
international, they're all top 50 kids,
yeah. No,
which is crazy. You know, eh, under the previous staff, you were lucky to land a top 50 kid, let alone be recruiting like almost exclusively top 50 kids. It's pretty crazy. I
yeah.
wanted to ask you about Kentucky's 26 class so far too, because you've got Madden Greenway, you've had locked in for forever now, and then you just get Savvy Swords, what felt like kind of out of the blue from my end.
Yeah,
Like now, obviously behind the scenes, it wasn't behind the blue. Like
yeah,
obviously they have been recruiting her, but like they're the only school with 2 top 10 commits. I think maybe like the only school 2 top like 30 commits.
yeah, maybe so.
Like,
Yeah,
I mean, just what do you make of Kentucky's 26 class so far? Before we're talking about all these
yeah.
additions, but like they
No.
have a great cast so far.
Right. No, I think it's great, and I think it puts them in this incredible spot where you don't feel a lot of pressure to like. Obviously, it's great if you land 1 or 2 of these other kids you're in on right now, but you don't have to. You don't like you have 2 top 10 kids. You have the portal at your availability to grab whatever else you need if you need to. Obviously, like you'd like to get freshmen and develop them, and the other piece of that is you get the freshman development and you hope they stay, but you don't know if they'll stay. So
Right.
it's a tough landscape that we're in right now and knowing what to prioritize, right? Because if you do have too big of a freshman class, it limits you in getting, those experienced players from the portal. So
Yeah.
I think they're in a really good spot right now where they have 2 kids that you feel like you can trust almost immediately when they come in, based on how they've been playing at least. And yeah, I mean, you probably hope to get 1 more of these like high level kids that you've been recruiting for a while and have put a lot of effort into. but there aren't a lot of teams that can say, they're not too stressed about, getting freshmen right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean Kentucky, like, I don't know what they're doing out on that recruiting trail, but whatever they're doing, it's working, right? I mean, they're getting, I mean, Madden, she she kind of had like it's really unfortunate. Like her scoring hasn't been great in this FIBA U19 World Cup, but she's dishing out like she's
Passing, right.
doing everything else you want from a point guard, getting steals, dishing out assists, and then Savvy Swords, like you watch her play and you're like, oh, like this is another
Right.
it's almost like a Kenny Brooks prototypical player, like 6 foot, like wing that can score on all 3 levels. All right, I know what I'm getting there. It's just really exciting to think about, like, again, especially coming from where we just were, Kentucky. Like all of a sudden, you have 2 top 10 commits for the first time in program history.
And I truly think getting Savvy was huge for Kenny Brooks in terms of like, you beat out South Carolina for a kid, first of all.
Yeah,
You beat out South Carolina for a kid, that's major. You beat out the team that her sister is playing on.
right.
Like that's a major get, and obviously getting Madden so early was really impressive too. But I was very impressed with their ability to lock down Savvy. Like I think that was a great. It just shows, like you said, where Kentucky's at right now.
I mean, her final 5
Yeah.
was UK, obviously where she is now. Michigan, like you said, where Sila plays. She was one of the top freshmen in the country last year.
Yes, she was.
Playing there at Michigan, could have very easily joined her sister. Nobody would have blamed her. And then you have South Carolina, Notre Dame, and UCLA, who are all top 5 programs, if like top 10 at the worst. Like, and Kentucky beats out all of them for Savvy Swords, and it's just pretty crazy. I think you're starting to see nowadays, especially like Madden 2, I think kids just kind of want to go do their own thing now.
Yeah.
Like,
and well, there's so much more parity too.
yeah,
And especially with Madden, it's like you see what Kenny was able to do with Georgia, and that obviously is, I'm sure, a big
Oh,
piece
yeah.
of it, right? You have tangible proof of what you're able to do with a
Yeah.
point guard. So that certainly helps. But yeah, no, I think you're right in that kids are wanting to do their own thing. Like obviously there are so many positive aspects of going to these elite level programs, but Kentucky's a program that's on the rise. And if you can help, take them there, I think that's a piece of the puzzle too. I'd love to be like a fly on the wall on one of those, recruiting calls with Savvy and hear kind of the pitch. Cause I think there is a great pitch to come to Kentucky right now for sure. And yeah, like I said, like just very impressed with the last 2 years, obviously. Being not too far away, I was able to come down to a bunch of games and have been really, really impressed with what Kenny Brooks has done so far.
And then the last kind of bit of recruiting intel I wanted to hit on was Whitley Rogers.
Yeah.
She told me she's wanting to visit UK in the fall. No date set up just yet.
Yep.
Now you just put out an intel piece about her.
So she set a visit with NC State, an official visit with them. She mentioned Kentucky, hoping to set visit with Kentucky, I think Colorado, I think Missouri. There might have been one more that I'm forgetting. But yeah, it sounds like she's moving along in her process, just trying to find some dates. And also still, I think I saw literally yesterday, still receiving, pretty high level offers. So she's still open. She did not say she's closed off in any way, shape, or form. I think I'm looking now. Yeah, Michigan State offered her yesterday. So I think the offers are still going to come in. And her recruitment really just started picking up a lot more recently. So I think she's not, nearing a decision right now, like trying to get on campus, because not like time is running out, but we're furthering along in it where, the first signing period is November, and a lot of programs want to have their freshmen set by then. So
yeah, I did talk to when I did talk to Whitley, I was like, is there a timeline for your decision? And it's kind of like you said, she was like, not necessarily, right? She was like, she's not making it a point to be committed by the early signing period, but there's that possibility, I guess, if her recruitment, picks up speed.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But with Whitley, I think she's maybe you're right about how 26 is just really slow, and UK fans haven't noticed. But like she's wanting to take her time, go through all these visits, do her due diligence, and then finally find the school of choice. But she's very high on UK from what I've been told, from what she has told me. NC State, obviously, she has made a visit there. So, Westmore competing for commitment there. But this feels like overall, like Kentucky is in the mix for so many top kids. And you just really it's almost like how? Kenny, Kenny has this point guard resume and this center resume, but like it just
How are
feels
there enough hours in the day?
yeah. Like
Yeah.
it's just pretty remarkable to see what the coaching staff has done.
Yeah.
Uh, Again, you see all the assistants out recruiting. I, I've had people ask, like, was Kenny not at Run for Roses? I didn't see him at Run for Roses. I feel like
No.
I would have been
I
told,
mean,
like,
maybe
almost
the last
immediately.
day, but I definitely didn't see him when I was there. I'm sure at least 2 of the coaches will be in Chicago this weekend, so
Oh
I'm sure
yeah,
I'll see them there because everyone passes through Nike Nationals. Um, but yeah, I'm not sure where he was this weekend.
I know. I saw UK put out some stuff where he was in Lexington, like at practices. So I don't know if he was
Oh,
there,
yeah.
like actually running practice or what. But regardless, it was a big recruiting weekend, and it feels like, Kentucky at this point in the summer, heading into the fall when visit starts, is just in really good position for a lot of kids.
Yes.
Like Sydney Savory, your top recruit in the 27 class,
I got her on campus. That was huge.
and then oh yeah, the visits already happened. Like that's big. Mimi Theoro and Whitley Rogers, 2 kids in 26. Like you're looking to add. If you
Yeah.
can get them, you can get them. And I think like right now, the last big priority in the 26 class is Big O, Olivia Vukosa. Like if you can, you know, it's a tough final 7,
I
but if
think that's probably and I don't wanna, speak for her, and this is
yeah,
really just a read based on me. I think that's probably the longest shot of the kids that they're still on in terms
yeah,
of who you're competing with, having visits set already. Just from talking to her, it sounds like she loves Kenny and has great conversations with her, and I don't think, it's out of reach, but I think based on where she's at right now, it's probably the longest shot of the other players that can
and
have
that's a tough final 7 too.
a very tough final
And
7.
and that's also one of those things. It's like you talked about the transfer portal, and like you said earlier, if Kentucky doesn't get her, they're not in a horrible spot.
No,
Like it would be
no,
great to have Olivia Vukosa, and like obviously you're gonna push for her as hard as you can. But like if you
yeah,
can't get her,
and there are
like
always
you
options.
still have Clara Strack for another year. You can go get,
Another
you know,
freshman, or you can go to the portal.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
exactly.
yeah.
You know, they did it with Elsa Vadfors. If you're running out of depth, just go get someone from overseas that
Yeah,
like we didn't
yeah.
know existed a week ago.
Yeah, well,
You
I
know,
know the staff has been overseas a bit too, so I'm sure they're looking.
yeah, went to Spain, Lithuania, then Coach Red is in Czechia right now, catching out Team USA.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we're gonna call it an episode. It's been a good one, a solid 30 minutes. It's like I think I say this every week, but when you can squeeze out 30 minutes in the summer, you did a good job.
Yeah.
Of course, we have Talia's social media handle. Go follow her, right? Go follow her. She's got not just Kentucky news, but like national news. Literally every school you could think of. She covers them. Excellent recruiting coverage, transfer portal coverage, great in season coverage too.
Yeah,
And then
I'm
of
at
course,
Kentucky a lot, so if
yeah,
I'll be
yeah,
over
I
there
know,
too
yeah.
while
Did
I'm
you
here.
did you did you come to Kentucky more than any
I
school
did.
last season?
I was at Kentucky more than I was at Indiana, which is 200 feet away from my apartment. So
There you go. She loved UK so much she just couldn't stop visiting. Talia, we're gonna have a breaking official visit news whenever we're gonna have on 3 graphics and everything
whenever
whenever
I'm
you
on
come to
campus.
campus.
Yeah, well, this is my last year of, well, at least that I know of being in the area, so I gotta come up a whole bunch this
One
year.
final year of eligibility.
Yeah, one
All
final
right.
year.
Subscribe to the KSR YouTube channel. Like I said, we've eclipsed 50,000. Again, thank you all so much. Get us to, what I don't know what the next milestone is, but get us there. You know, thank you all so much for tuning in. This has been episode 33 of the Memorial Memo alongside On 3 and Rivals Talia Goodman. We will see you guys next time.